Alright folks, what is up? This is One Big Bug and I'm coming at you with Euro Truck Simulator 2. We're continuing our career and we had almost 100,000 euros and then I tanked it by putting all of these upgrades on my truck. Changing the cab and the top bar and the wheels and yeah. So now we have 6,000. This should be fun. So was looking over everything of where we are, and I decided to go with the 19-ton lumber trailer rather than the 14-ton bulldozer. Despite the fact it's a rough job, it's a 3,478 kilometer drive versus a 3,081. So it's pretty close. It's only 3 kilometers off a full 400 kilometers longer. It's a slightly heavier trailer. It's a more basic trailer. But again, the bulldozer trailer, even though it has the bulldozer on it, is still a standard length trailer. So this is what we're going to do. So a couple things I want to talk about, but I will do so once we get out of town. And I'll tell you, I really can't wait for the new what is it? 64-bit version, and hopefully it'll help me with these frame rate fluctuations. It's not going to improve the speed like when I'm in town and stuff. But that may be improved if I ever get to SLI my cards. Next month, probably not gonna be able to because I got to replace a tire on my car. But hopefully, very, very soon. Hopefully. Okay. But yeah, we have that bottom bar too. I'm pretty sure we just recently added that bottom bar with the lights, or that was the last one. So we may not make this first cycle on the lights, which really sucks. Because we're wasting stamina. Yeah, we're not going to go anywhere. Because, you know, traffic. I half tempted to, like, back up just a little bit. I got more than enough from here to get around this guy and just go. But we can wait it out. Yeah, but I like our top bar now. I think it's really cool. And we don't have that orbital light, which really looked gaudy on this truck with the new cab. Apparently I'm thinking I'm in England. It'd be nice if I made this light. And we do. Awesome. Still having... See, these little loading clips I keep getting may really be fixed with, or at least made better with the 64-bit version that's coming out. A lot of these frame drops and clips and whatnot will get hopefully dealt with. Man, look at all that litter. Okay, at 19 tons, we're really not going to need our axle again. So our mid-axle will stay up. Yeah, I kind of figured our trailer would be the wrong way, so I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to side back it. I did this before when I had a trailer that was too long to get out of where it was by backing in normally. I backed in on its side. This saves me from having to turn all the way around. A lot of people don't know you can actually do this. And you just pull the trailer straight a little bit and make sure you don't jackknife it when pulling out. And look at that. It's pretty sweet, huh? It's a pretty cool looking trailer though, I gotta say. The advantage of driving on the outside is it's a lot easier to see cars coming. Oh, don't do this endless traffic thing to me. Okay, really, just don't. Right, we're on our way. Once I get on the highway up here, I'll hop back into the truck most likely. And then I got some things, like I said, I want to talk about. Don't want to go too fast. I'm worried about speed cameras. Plus we got a fairly little wicked corner here to shift over. There we go. Now we're looking in good shape. Ooh. Okay, slow down. Hard to judge when you're on the outside. Got to get used to this. I'm not going to drive the whole thing like this. Like I said, I'm going to hop into the truck once we get inside. I just, again, as I mentioned before, I just like this particular view. All right. There we go. Now, there's some pretty good news. Oh, stop it, game. Just stop. It's like endless right now. It's just constantly giving me these little frame ticks, and it's really annoying. But my wife got her new treatment started today, and there's good and bad in that of itself. But it's the good news that it's started, and it's going to be working to get the hole that is developed on her foot closed. And as I said, this treatment means that we're going to start off with a speeding offense right away, number one. Worried about getting a speeding ticket. Gets a speeding ticket. Alright. Make sure we get that covered and out of the way first thing. It was a really weird truck. Oh yeah, well, something else. I'll get back to what I was saying about the treatment and all that real quick. Something else is, with this particular trailer, in all technical terms, we do not need our orbitals, so I will not be running those for this trip either. But, this means that she most likely will not have to lose any toes at all. And she won't be losing anything having to do with her foot at all either. So that's really awesome. It also cuts down on how many trips we have to make downtown per week from 2 to 1, which is huge. It's a huge load off of us to not have to make that trip twice a week. We only have to go down once now. Otherwise, nurses will be coming to her um, 3 times a week, I believe. Maybe twice. 2 or 3 times a week, I think. To change and take care of the wound itself and the machine that she's on. If you don't know, if I hadn't mentioned it, as I said, my wife had a hole develop on her foot. This was either caused what's known as a diabetic ulcer. I keep wanting to call it an embolism for some reason. It's not. A diabetic ulcer, or it was caused by an insect bite of either a centipede. Centipede could have caused this, or a brown recluse, otherwise known as the fiddleback spider. Oh, come on. I'm getting real frame chugs right now, and it's annoying as all hell. And it caused a fair-sized hole in her foot. Not all the way through, no, but almost to bone structure. So we had a lot of fear that she was going to lose toes because it appeared that tendons had died. Her physical therapist that was cleaning the wound and caring for it while she got set up to see a podiatrist and keeping an eye on the wound itself was not the... Oh, right. One mirror. Was not the most helpful in terms of good news, but he's a physical therapist, not a doctor, so I can't blame him. Oh, I don't need my lights either. At least for now. I will in a little bit. We're headed for the ferry already. So we had, we were really worried, and when she saw the podiatrist, the foot specialist doctor, he gave us all kinds of good news and set her up with this program to help close the wound. The program entitles putting this machine on her that she needs to wear like literally 22, 23 hours a day. She cannot take it off for any reason. And what it does is it applies suction to the wound. The wound is completely sealed, and it applies suction, and it slowly pulls the tissue inward. Yeah? It's slowly pulling the tissue inward so that the skin can grow over it. The problem like she faces right now is really simple. Kind of like trying to take a corner way too freaking early with a trailer. Oh, stop it. I'm already turned away from it. Thank you. I'm distracted by trying to talk about this, in all due honesty. And with the hole in her foot, the problem is the skin can't grow downward. And if it did, it would actually be bad because there'd be nothing covering the wound. There'd be no tissue. It'd just be skin grown over muscle fiber and tendons and stuff. So that wouldn't be good. So this will pull the tissue together slowly, and allow the skin to grow over it and eventually close the wound. Now, drawbacks. And there are drawbacks. Get me out, you damn Lolos. Look at how slow they're going. You know what? I'm just pulling out. There we go. So the drawbacks. My wife literally had to sign a paper. I'm being this lane. Not a paper, several papers, contracts, literal contracts for this treatment. Because this treatment can be up to a year long. Yeah, so this is going to be going on for a year. Or close to it. It may not take an entire year, but it's going to take a really, really long time. Upwards of a year. If not an entire year. Number 2. She can't drive anymore. She's not allowed to drive. Now, granted, she didn't drive all that much to begin with. She has her license. But whenever we went anywhere together, which was almost everywhere, I would drive her. I would drive. She'd, be in the passenger seat. And she's worried that a couple things, like number one, well, I'm going to be driving her everywhere. And I kind of tell her, that's what I've been doing. There's really no change to me, except we now have a continuous day of when we're supposed to go downtown once a week. It may not be the same day every day, may not be the same time every day, but it's every day. Not every day, it's every week. That's fine. It's not twice a week, which is pretty important. But the other thing, and I can really understand this feeling, is just being told you're not allowed to drive. That's hard for anyone to take. It really is. That's difficult for anyone to have to deal with. I mean, even if she didn't drive that much to begin with, imagine being with somebody who usually does all the driving, but you have your license and you have your freedom that if you want to go for a drive or you want to go to the store or you need something, you don't have to ask somebody to take you. You don't have to ask somebody to go for you. You can just up and go on your own. Well, she can't now. Also, for the first week, she's not allowed to actually get in the shower. Maybe this is a little bit more personal than I should be revealing, but it's just, we got to do an out-of-shower bath, as I call it, for the first week, and then she should be able to afterwards, but that's still something else that's difficult. She has to maintain a healthy, high-protein diet. This is a must again. It's literally in the contract. There's a lot of stuff in this contract that she has to do in order for this treatment to be continued and fully paid for. If she doesn't, and if she's deemed that she hasn't been doing this and keeping up with her with what she's supposed to, she could be charged to copay for this treatment in the terms of $1,300 a month, which we can't afford, guaranteed. So it's going to be very difficult for her. It really is. You'll get used to it over time, but since since she first visited the doctor and got all that bad news, she's had to make a lot of drastic and difficult changes in her life that if you were to make normally, you would have months and even years to do it and get yourself in place. And she's had to do it in days and weeks, at most months. And that is pretty damn huge, no matter who you are. And now even more changes are coming. As she's finally settled in to something of a more normal routine, even more changes are happening. And that's really difficult, regardless. Oh, I hadn't looked. Apparently our driver had come through with some extra cash, so that'll take care of our loan. That'll keep us floating until we finish this run. But, so it's really good news, but there's a lot of tough news with it as well. I wouldn't call it bad news. I call it tough news. It's just something that needs to be dealt with. I was actually expecting to see this cathedral, and we're actually going to get hit with a speed limit change really soon, because we're going to drive through the middle of this cathedral once I'm able to keep myself between the lines. I think we're going to get a speed change. Oh, hello. I thought the road merged. Don't ask why. Yeah, there's the speed change, and I will follow it because you will get a ticket through here. And I'm going to let the cruise control... Yeah, see, there's the camera. I'm going to let the cruise control do the speed for me. I don't remember if there's another camera. I think there's one pointing in the other direction. I don't know if we have already passed it or not, but... yeah. We'll just wait till we're on the other side. Now... this area that we're driving through, we're going to be going through a big desert area, and it used to be the most fun but also one of the most frustrating areas in the map to deal with. And I'm actually going to use this gas station to fuel up, just because I know that on this map gas stations are few and far between, and we're already below half a tank. Even though we can still go another 1,000 kilometers, I'd rather do this. Besides, there's something down here I want you to see. One of the many Easter eggs that, if it's still here, one of the many Easter eggs that, yeah, there it is. I was saying, one of the many Easter eggs that TSM, Truck Sim Map, likes to put in to its games. And of course, we're back in Africa, so gas is dirt freaking cheap. Yeah, but there you go. An impossible crash, honestly. The angle of where that plane is sitting, where we would have to have come from, there is no possible way that wreck would land like that. None whatsoever. And be that intact. I totally forget what I was talking about before that Easter egg. Oh, I remember. So yeah, we're going to be like... So we're still going to have this grassy covering here, but eventually we're going to get into desert. And it was one of the most fun and one of the most difficult in terms of annoying places to drive in the game. It's fun because it was extremely hilly, so that you could get a lot of momentum on one side, and then on the other side you would use that momentum to power up the next hill. And it was a lot of fun, except in the middle of this area there was this one spot with a speed camera sitting at the bottom of the hill. Now, I'm pretty sure Africa doesn't have speed cameras, but I could be wrong. There's a speed camera at the bottom of this pretty steep hill, and you could build up a lot of momentum. So, on this steep hill, the speed limit suddenly would drop. I mean, it would be like speed limit drop camera. So you had to slow down, or you got a speeding ticket. But if you slowed down and there was traffic anywhere within a certain amount of distance behind you, a car would slam into the back of your trailer going well over 100 kilometers. So you would immediately take 14-15% damage to your cargo, and there was no avoiding it. And the reason is that the AI didn't know how to deal with the increased slopes with the increased speed of the road. And so it wouldn't stop like it was supposed to, and it would just slam into the back of your truck. And you would take damage, period. So you had a choice of... So basically you had to be okay taking a $550 speeding ticket. You had to be okay paying that, because the consequences were 15% damage to your trailer. So that's pretty damn screwed up. So I guess a lot of complaints had reached the guys that make this map mod, and the next time that I played this game after I had quit, get out of the way, logs, I have lumber. I'm what you're going to be, so I'm more important. Logic. So they ended up changing the map so that you're not so much driving over this rolling, hilly dune area. It's a lot, as you can see now, because we'd already be in the hills and dunes right now. It's a lot more flat. A hell of a lot more flat. And the hills and dunes are now around you rather than you actually are going up and down. And that's the trade-off. It's far less frustrating, but far more boring. You know, it's far less fun. Less frustrating, less fun, versus more frustrating, more fun. So that's the trade-off. And it's disappointing. It's very disappointing. IR felt sad. Man, I can't imagine driving a road like this. Even when I lived on the mainland, and I didn't drive anything like remotely long, endless country kind roads. And this is even worse. This is just a long, endless road in the desert, man. I can't imagine this would be like driving those roads through the cornfields, like of Iowa or maybe South Dakota or something. I don't know. We always talk about them. You always hear on those long, endless, straightaway roads. Oh, high speed camera. I'm going to slow down a little bit because the last speed limit I saw was 100. And I am rolling up 110, so I'd like to not get a speeding ticket, which we didn't. The closest I came to it, yeah, see, speed limit 100. The closest I came to doing something like this is, I worked for Rent-A-Center at one point when I lived in New Hampshire. And they sent me to go deliver this king-size bed by myself. I'm not going to go into the details of how ridiculous it is to send one person to go set up a king-size bed on their own. Just trust me when I say it's ridiculous. And they tried to give me instructions about where I was going and what to expect. And they literally told me, one guy literally told me at one point, he says, at one point you're going to think that you've driven too far. He said, just keep going. And I thought he was joking. I don't know what the speed limit is here, so I'm going to play it safe. At least, hopefully safe. I thought he was joking. 2 hours, 15 minutes of driving on this one singular road later. Well, no, it was 2 hours, 15 minutes overall. I had probably spent an hour and a half on this one singular road, driving through this forest, almost freaking endlessly. I started wondering, did I go too far? 15 minutes later, I finally got to the house. That was as close as I'd ever come to that kind of feeling. I mean, I literally just... It was one of those moments, did I go too far? So, I can't imagine driving on a road like this. Just surrounded by sand dunes in the middle of a desert. Too fast. I mean, I do that from time to time as it is. You know, build up too much speed. But it's a lot easier on a road like this. Because you don't have too much of a speed reference, you know? You don't have other cars around you that you're going flying by and guardrails and whatnot. You just got the road and then there's endless sand. So you have a very distorted sense of speed. All right. No. Okay, yeah. I was wondering why is that working? Because that's the lights flashing, and I'm already on high beams. A road like this, man, would cause me to get like all droopy and dreary-eyed, even if I wasn't already tired. Come on, girl, you can do it. Are you gonna let that 19-ton trailer get you out of 12th gear? I don't think so. That road there, and there's another road, the other road that we passed a little while back, they both lead to this awesome hill climbs. You like mountain road climbs. They're really freaking cool. Sadly, the interesting thing is if you look right now at our dashboard, we have enough fuel to go 1,800 and about 10 kilometers, and we still have to travel 2,800 kilometers. That's it's a long way to go when you fueled up almost when you got here, and you're pretty close to topped off, and you're going to have to refuel before you actually get to where you're going. But the advantage is, man, we are locked in. We've had to slow down a couple times. But we've been pretty much locked in at cruising speed. I mean, our, yeah. Our gas, our liters per 100 kilometers or kilometers is 39. And slowly dropping as we're averaging around anywhere right now. Let's see, 21, 19, 18. It's still going down. 17, 18. We are making some fuel mileage here. So we're actually going to increase our travel distance, I think. But I mean, we're using around 14, 15, so we've been sub 20, and sometimes dipping just under sub 15, as in terms of liters per 100 kilometers. That's impressive. A little bit more right now because we're on an uphill, but we're still under our average. Oh, not anymore. Now we're over it. Now we're under it. Now we're over it. But we're pushing it down. We're working on pushing it down. So we'll probably... I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this we could get that down to like 35. Now, we're still climbing the hill right now. You can see the crest of the hill, I believe. Or that's just a false horizon. Yeah, we crested the hill already. Now we're coasting. That is, as I forget. Jesus. Why is that set to 111? Yeah, let's just drive in the dark. I'm forgetting what my buttons are. Okay, 110. I want to be at 110 kilometers. That's where I like to be. I am very, very particular. Not 109, not 111, 110. That's where I want to be. So see here it opens up into a double actual highway. So this would mean that you're done with the fun part. And as you can see, it wasn't very fun. It was actually pretty mundane, boring. So, but I see it as a good thing, because I'd rather have it be a little more mundane and boring than have to deal with slamming into, or a car slamming into the back of my trailer and causing me 15% damage. Now, apparently, the guys at SCS are not just working on American Truck Simulator. I mean, we obviously know that they're working on the Scandinavia expansion. They're also working on the new Mercedes, which, of course, in game is known as Majestic. But they're working on the new Mercedes truck, which will probably be the Actos MP4, which I think will cover all of the trucks, except for Renault, which I don't know if Renault has updated versions or not. But anyways, going past all that, they're also apparently working on Coach Simulator. Now, some of you may go, Coach, why would people... If you go and take a look at any of the websites for Truck Sim, for Euro Truck, you're going to see there's a lot of mods to put coaches in the game. So instead of having to drive a truck, you can drive around in a coach. So there is a vested interest in that, and it's apparently enough of a vested interest that SCS is actually going to make a coach simulator. I find that very interesting. As somebody who used to drive coaches, granted they're older coaches than what would be in the game, but I really don't need my high beams right now. As somebody that used to drive coaches, I think that would be very interesting. And I wonder if you're going to have to like pick people up and take them somewhere. Or I would think you'd have to, yeah? Take them on tour or something. I don't know. So I think that's pretty cool. Although I got to admit I'm a little jealous because of finding all this out from one of the more prominent streamers prominent YouTubers, and I don't know if he streams or not. Dust Squirrel Nuts. He got invited to the SCS headquarters in Prague, and he got to see the headquarters. He's getting to talk to the people. He's getting to see everything up front, close and personal. And I just can't help but be a little jelly about that. I'd love to go and see SCS and everything that's going into the game. But I'm going to be honest here. Even if they offered it to me, I probably wouldn't be able to go because I, as you know, am far from the average person. It would take 2 seats. I would have to take 2 seats on a flight to be able to go there and back. And I don't think you'd want to fund that. Plus, Dust Squirrel Nuts, I believe, is in England. He's an Englishman, so he lives in England. So it's not that far and that difficult to fly him to Prague. Whereas I live in Hawaii, and even if they didn't have to buy 2 tickets for my big on self, if I may, it would still be a very, very, very long flight and fairly freaking expensive. And that's just not something you want to deal with. So, right. I really, really got to start watching for the possibilities of a rest stop soon. Just because they're few and far between here. And I'm getting up there in stamina. But we have made tremendous distance today. What I thought might be a 4 episode run just may turn out to be a 3 episode if we can keep this good fortune going. Now granted, we're going to be traveling during the day some. That's going to mean more traffic, less opportunity to pass. Maybe we won't be able to cruise like this. But the first day, despite 1 speeding ticket, is so far has turned out to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to look for the next rest stop, see how far we are. Oh, not too far. That's not too far at all. That's going to be perfect. Perfect. But we've traveled, I believe, over, well, it doesn't tell me how far here, sadly. But we've traveled, over 1,000 kilometers. And I think that may, by the time we're done, include, if you added in the time, the 62, 64 kilometers of the ferry trip. So, tremendous run today. Really awesome with just this clear, smooth, full-on sailing right now. It's been absolutely beautiful, relaxing drive through this sandy wonderland here. Now, if you're wondering why, I mean, obviously they kind of repeat use assets to do roads like this, but you're wondering why you get these long stretches of flat sand, and then as you see here, we come up, you get this rough area. Well, that serves two purposes. Number one, it breaks up the monotonous of the map. So it gives you a sensation that you are accomplishing, that you are continuously moving forward, and that something's not wrong with the game or the map. Number two, what it does is it prevents me from driving off the road and trying to pass a truck on the inside to the right over the sand, because I really don't want to hit that roughness doing 110. You see, you can easily... You see, there's really no difference between the road and the sand. Look, I can go fully onto the sand, and it's just like being on the road. So that kind of helps prevent that kind of nature as well. And now, as you can see, as I look up the side here, it stretches pretty far up. So it's a bit of a deterrent for going up off the side and seeing how far you can go and driving like that and staying to the road. But if you play the game in a more serious but casual nature like I do, then you really don't need it. Sadly, I don't know how much of this upcoming sunrise, as you can see, we're actually going to get, because even though it's very barren out here, it is truly spectacular, even at the lower settings that I'm running at. It is truly, absolutely spectacular, the sunrise. And we're actually leaving the desert now. We're starting to get into some trees and stuff. Kind of a shame. Kind of a shame. Because, like I said before, just the beauty of the sunrise over the barren wasteland. There's just something about it that's really beautiful, even at the graphic settings that I have it on right now, which are mid-range for recording. Whenever I used to play this off, I can turn everything up to full and run it just fine. So that looks like, that looks like a speeding camera, and our speed limit dropped to 60. Oh, because we got some hairpin turns. Oh, 30. Dude! That's not fair! That is not fair. That was not fair at all. I was breaking the 30, and that camera is way too close to the sign. Too low. That camera is way too close to the sign. And that's what caused that freaking speeding ticket. That was just unfair. It was like speed limit change and camera. And I didn't have time to break it down even further. I was already setting up to go 60. It's like, 60? Nah, 30. Have a speeding ticket. Here's our rest area. We will be resting here, which I can't think of a much better place to rest right now. Can you? I cannot. I mean, yeah, we're gonna be here wherever this is, this rest stop, hotel, motel, Burger King. Burger King! Wow, we're stopping at Burger King in Africa. We get this lovely lake behind us, surrounded by these rolling hills. Man, what more can you ask for? I'm going to F3, and I want to take a look outside of our truck and make sure our lights are off. Man, look at that. Yeah, it's the lake behind it. I don't know if you can hear all the little noises. I hear like birds and stuff. What more can you ask for? Huh? What more can you ask for? Alright, let's get our rest. That would probably be the loan coming through, which we're not going to know. But judging by the fact that we're back down to 6,000, I would say that was the loan coming through. So again, a tremendous first run. A truly tremendous first run in our new fully fledged out truck here. We're talking over, I think, well over 1,000 kilometers traveled. Cruise speed, amazing gas mileage. Truly, truly, truly a good run. Despite the two speeding tickets, which one of them, the first one I deserved. The second one I really think was unfair. I really don't think that that was a good speeding ticket. But be that as it may, I still think this was a great run, and I'm hoping for more of this when we pick up on Monday. So until then, folks, this is going to be One Big Bug Out. I'm going to be signing out. I'll see you next time.